Good morning, everyone. It's Tom Sidney Bushnell, aka Numbers, here from Sight Club and from the Tom Numbers Show. And I've got the ever magnificent tarot by Janine here. Oh, I said it. Oh, well. How are you, Janine?
I'm good. How are you doing, Tom?
I'm good. I'm here in a place called Deadwood. It's actually, I've realized it's from that place called the TV series is called Deadwood.
Yeah. Yeah.
And it's quite a unique town. So there's definitely an energy here. And it's a little different, and I'm trying to kind of pinpoint what it might be. But maybe we can have a look at it. I think there's maybe two kind of sides of it. I think it might be a classic case of dark to light. Let's have a look at it. Deadwood. So it's not far from. It's kind of in between Devil's Tower in Wyoming, and I'm in South Dakota now. And it's kind of halfway to the point of Mount Rushmore. So it's almost kind of in between the two. Cool. Deadwood.
Okay, so we've got. 2 and 4, 2 and 4. Interesting. 2 of Wands and the 4 of Wands. Yeah, I think you're right about it being. I think there's a whole lot of activity there that's off world and or other dimensional. That's maybe what you're feeling. I think it's been really difficult, like maybe there was a lot of dumbs under there or a lot of areas that were being used by the dark cult, but it feels like it's now been shifted over. Like dark to light makes a lot of sense with these cards. So
yeah,
things are really improving or on the way to improving here. And there's also a lot of gateways around the area. Like I'm thinking spiritual gateways.
Okay, that's interesting. Because there is, I've noticed it. So there is definitely this kind of unique feel, and maybe dark to light, two things. But I've noticed with the locals, so some of them, bless them, they seem like they might be kind of altered. I'll just say that. Some of them seem like they might have been altered, but they also seem almost kind of ready to accept what is, well, hopefully accept what is changing and coming. It's an old gold mining town as well. Yeah.
Yeah. Altered is interesting.
Yeah.
Maybe because of the activity that went on, but this is, I feel like they could be in the process of really coming into a more healthy way of thinking or more spiritually in tune place. I almost think that would be a real shift place for shifting into 5D kind of thing.
Yeah. Yeah. And that's the kind of feel. It's because I went for a walk last night just down to the casino. Didn't do the casino. We went to go to get something to eat. And so they got these 4 restaurants, and I noticed it seemed very old and kind of strange. And then the new casino building, the hotel, is quite new and kind of felt a bit fresher. But even just some of the staff, they kind of had this look of maybe feelings of the past, but maybe kind of hopefully looking towards the future. Also, the TV show. So there's a poster just in the room behind me, and I remember the name, but it took me kind of a day or so to kind of trigger and remember what it was. I don't ever saw the show, but it says something about Deadwood is it's a hell of a place to make a fortune. So I think it's saying that there was stuff in the past that was bad, but then there's a gold mining town. Yeah.
And the gold mining might even be a sort of a cover for underground dumbs. Think about it.
Okay. Right. Yeah.
I mean, maybe they did do gold mining, but I think they also dug some other tunnels.
Okay. Yeah. The other thing about it as well is you probably get this in a lot of places, but I'm not used to it per se. I noticed there's a lot of insects here, like big ones, like size of the wasp. They look like hornets. There's all these red bugs flying around, and they seem to almost not just doing their own thing, but there seems to be kind of an energy around them as well. And I'm not sure whether it's neutral. It doesn't feel like it is. I don't know if that's kind of an offspring of I don't know if it's just kind of pertinent to all the different things that go on here, but they're big insects that just kind of almost don't mind their own business. They kind of want to come in and get to know you, if that makes sense. Yeah.
Interesting. Well, I've got a 6 of Wands around there, so I actually get that as a good thing. So there's something positive about that. And it could just be a really good sort of climate and conditions physically for
Okay.
those bugs to grow really big. Could be just a
Okay.
really unique place that cultivates really big bugs.
Okay.
It doesn't look evil or bad though.
That's good.
Yeah.
That's good. So this is an interesting one. So literally probably less than 100 yards away from the hotel, there's a museum, and it's called Museum 76 or 76 Museum. And 76 is my name, Thomas. It's a magic wand. You got the whole thing of 1776.
Okay.
And then I've just looked up, literally as we're talking, I've just looked up the word museum, or worked it out, I should say. Let me do it double again just to check. Yeah, so museum is numbers 92. So there's Thomas numbers. That comes to 168, which comes to New York City. But I don't know, is there anything, because sometimes I go to places and it feels like maybe I was there before. I don't know if I was here before, but the museum is my, 76. Do I have any historic connection to this place, or is it just happenstance?
I'm thinking past life.
Yeah.
I'm thinking you had a past life there. You're having a past life memory. I think you had a really emotional, it wasn't always good, but emotional life there with somebody, a woman.
Okay.
I feel like you had a marriage or something, like you spent time married there with a woman. And it feels like it ended badly, but it stayed with you because it was a really big deal that lifetime. Feels like it was a really intense connection you had with that person, and it kind of stuck in your DNA. So there could be mixed feelings about the place because you had really good times there because you fell in love, but also a lot of heartbreak towards the end when things broke up. I also feel like you were a father with that person, so you had a child with that person, and your child got taken away. So you might actually have some interesting mixed feelings about the place.
Interesting. Does it give an indication on how many lifetimes ago that might have been?
I'm thinking in the 40s, so 1940s.
Really?
Was when the breakup occurred, is the feeling I'm getting. So when the real dark part occurred.
Interesting.
Was in the 1940s. So you would have been an adult suffering heartbreak in the 40s there.
Interesting.
So I don't know what the place looked like. Maybe when you go to the museum, or if you go to the museum, have a look at what maybe there's archives about what it used to look like. See if anything tweaks.
Wow, I'll do that. The other thing about it is the place called Deadwood is actually 71, which comes to Psych, my channel, so Psych Club, and Club is 38, which is gold, and this is a gold place. But you add those together is 109, 17, so there's a good side of it. Also, 71 is Lady Diana. It's Flynn, it's Moses, it's Smart, it's a few things, but it's a reverse of 17 as well. So that's interesting. Yeah. Maybe that's why I had to kind of spend a little longer here. So yeah, maybe that's what it is.
Interesting.
Yeah. Well, thanks, Janine. Let's go on to the global stuff. So let's have a look at the finances, the markets. That you were feeling that we're really close to things, and it feels like that. So is there any update from the cards on when we could expect a crash of some description?
I keep getting it's already happening, but they're just not admitting it. Of course. But we want to see it. We need to know when we see it, because see there, it's totally happening. And I feel like the land of the Queen, so the UK already finished. So we've got that 10. So even though they're making all of these lame excuses, okay, I'm thinking Ireland and Scotland could be next. So Celtic regions. So whatever they consider around around there, Celtic. Okay, so I'm assuming that's Irish or Ireland and Scotland.
Okay.
And yeah, also there, like I'm thinking in the next 2 to 4 days, we could see some really big activity around it. But there's been a lot of backdoor deals, or there's a whole bunch of deals being made. And this is what I was picking up on the channel, on the TBJ. Do the long version of that,
the
people.
TBJ, yeah. Go to the
.com.
We should have said it at the beginning. TBJ.com.
Yeah,
I said
yeah,
the name
yeah.
at the beginning, TBJ.com.
Yeah, you just have to do the long version when you actually type it in. But I got this before, and it was like, it seems like there's backdoor deals going on with the Khazarian mafia bankers. Oh, guess I shouldn't have said that either.
I think we'll be okay.
Yeah, you think so? Okay, the bankers.
We'll just say it once. I think that'll be all right.
Yeah. Okay, so those guys, I feel like they are trying to save themselves. Okay. And they're so up against a wall that they might even be trying to make deals with the White Hats and the Alliance.
Okay.
So they don't go down so drastically or something, or they want to save their necks, and that could be literal.
Okay.
Yeah.
What do we see in direct relation to, so this is interesting. So the word British is 85, which is storm, which is awakening, it's matrix, and it's also silver. And so we know that the British pound in the last week, it's kind of picked up again a bit, but it did do a bit of a big drop. So it's almost on a parity with the dollar. And if you say that those things have all kind of already happened, or it's going on in England, in the UK, and Britain, do we see any soon reflection in the price of silver, or are they going to kind of stretch it out, let these things happen, and then it would just gradually rise?
Yeah, it'll be more gradual.
Okay.
It could take another 7 weeks, I'm thinking, with that 7 of Pentacles.
Okay.
So yeah, and in the meantime, that it feels like there's a fight in that area. So that feels like they're fighting over how they're going to do that, or who's in charge, or something like that. There's a big fight over it. So the price of silver feels like it's still being manipulated. We know it's been manipulated for many years, but it feels like now there's some kind of, it's a real fighting place right now. Like the price is being fought over how they're going to do things with that. I still get it goes up, but I feel like it doesn't till a few things have to happen first, it looks like.
Do you feel that the fight is between just kind of decision makers on the good side? You know, is it kind of like, well, we should do this, or is it the banks saying we still want to try and get the best deal we can, and they're hesitating?
Yeah, it's super political is what this card says. So this card, when it's not about a relationship, can be about politics. Okay. So it feels like they're trying to figure out the best way to, I feel like the manipulation's now in the hands of the White Hats, to be honest. I've looked at it quite a bit, and I feel like so that could be our alliance even. I feel like the White Hats are now in charge of what happens with silver, and they might even be keeping it where it is to let everybody get in on it.
That's why, I've been thinking that. Yeah. Okay. So another thing that is going on right now is the storm in Florida. And so we've seen that for the last few days. There's some interesting numbers on this. So you've been getting some good stuff out on Telegram. You showed when the guy, the news report is kind of being blown over, and the other guys managed to get in his car and drive away. And so there's a lot of these little tales. But if you do the numbers, so the storm is called Ian, which is 24. And then if you do storm is 85 again, silver 85, awakening 85, I should say 85. But you add them together, it comes to 109, which is the word 17. So when you spell out storm Ian, it comes to 109.17. So I'm wondering if, well, let's have a look. Let's see what the cards say about Stormy and what's the reality of it. I mean, I know we're hearing reports of millions of people having issues, flooding and everything else, but what's the deal with it?
I'm sure I've done a lot of looks at it, and so full disclosure, one of the things I put up on Telegram was 4 years old, and all I was doing was trying to show you that they do this. So pay attention. That was the reason I shared that one. People gave me grief for it, but I said I wasn't trying to say that was from now. That was just saying this is what they do. And I did put up a couple more that were actually from, and they were doing the same thing. So you just know that they do tend to do that. There were areas, it looks like, that were devastated, absolutely. And a lot of people are pretty touchy about people saying who aren't there, saying, okay, it wasn't as bad. By the way, you were in that area and you guys left just before things started to happen? Weren't you guys in that area or no?
We were in California, so we were the other side.
Oh, you were in California.
Yeah, okay. So we did California, then up.
Yes. So what I've been getting consistently is that the worst of it is over and that it could have been a lot worse.
Okay.
A lot worse, but the edge got taken off, and I feel like it was seeded, if you will. I don't know how they do it, but by harp. Okay, I guess I shouldn't say that again.
Yeah.
And
that musical instrument, the flute, the clarinet,
right?
The banjo.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay. Seeded by that, and then it was, but it was. I think they took the edge off of it once the good guys found out about it. So I think it was one of those booby-trapped weather situations that seems like we're seeing them, but they never get as bad. But if you were in the bad parts, you won't think that way. And I totally understand. So I send out a lot of love and energy to those people that were devastated by it. But they likely, some of the stuff's exaggerated too. So, but there were spots that were absolutely, people lost livelihoods, and people are saying lives. I haven't seen literal reports of that, but people are emailing.
Okay. Got it. I was watching the reports on it yesterday. I was here at the hotel and just making plans, and so they kept focusing on North Florida during this part. So Hurricane Ian, North Florida, comes to 261, which comes to the Judgment Day number again. So August 29th is 261. November 22nd is 261. Diana on August 31st is also 261. John Fitzgerald Kennedy, JR, is also 261. So Hurricane Ian, North Florida, is also 261. And that leads me on to something that 107, I was speaking to Juan again last night, and he's been talking clearly about this date of October 29th. And I realized this a few days ago that Juan always likes to talk about dropping the zeros in the gematria. I like to keep them open, but there's many ways you can do it, and you can drop the zero. So if you look at October 29th, that's at 10, and at 29th, it's at 10:29. You drop the zero, that's 129, which is the word Judgment Day. So he's very clear about it. He's like, you'll either see something and you'll know exactly what I'm on about, or nothing will happen. I'm just wondering if there's any update on the cards for that in regards to October 29th, or maybe a clue on what sort of things we may be expecting, if anything.
Wow, this is interesting. We've got the Devil, first off.
Yeah.
And the Page of Wands. So some new sort of information may be coming out.
Okay.
And or maybe even some evidence. So I almost feel like that's an evidence card about the sort of demonics that we talk about.
Okay.
And how they do what they do. Right.
Right.
So some kind of really obvious evidence. So that could be some disclosure. Here's where it's coming from. So that's my Mr. T and the White Hats, or Alliance, which I believe they all work together. I think
Yeah.
Mr. T is just the head of, or they put him out front. But I
Yeah.
think a lot of good people are working, and even non-humans, other
Yeah.
dimensionals. Yeah.
Yeah.
For the good of the whole. So it goes out to all of the population, and it's going to be very frustrating and cause a lot of issues. Not like the judgment card issues, but they've been, I think, waiting to do disclosure. So we don't have like huge issues like in cities where they, take everything down. I feel like it will cause issues for sure when truth comes out, but not as bad. It's going to, because they waited this long and they've been exposing so many things. I feel like that's actually worked to the benefit of the whole organization or the whole operation.
Okay.
And I think they're going to expose the bad guys in a big way here, is what I'm getting.
Wow. Do you see that in any kind of form of like an EBS or something like that?
Okay, I'm going to ask it like, what form will it take, the exposure?
Yeah.
Oh yeah, that could be an EBS type.
Huh.
Yeah. So she brings truth in no uncertain terms and is kind of brutal about it. And this is shocking. And yeah, so that I would say yes. And then it goes to the population. So that's not just the truthers.
Yes.
So that's the world population. Wow. And again, the undercards were same thing. It's going to be about these guys and what they've been up to. And this was in the past again, the very same card.
Okay.
So it feels like it'll come from, it could be like where they literally just announce, start telling everybody. But it feels like they're going to need to lock things down before that could happen, right?
Okay.
I mean, this will be pretty devastating.
Yeah. That's interesting because one has, I haven't seen all the videos he's talked about it publicly, but I picked up the kind of main things of the message, and I've spoken to him a few times on it. And he put out a post out, and he was talking about, if I've got this correctly, a few years ago there was an EBS in Hawaii, kind of almost like a test, kind of what is to come. And he's clear that basically Hawaii, because it's so far, it'll be the mainland US. And he's basically talking about how the rest of the world will be able to see and watch and view what's going on. And there was a ABS alert that popped up at the weekend, actually, that came up, and that was interesting. So, but he seems really, I mean, he's said he's got 40 plus kind of markers on this, and he's saying it will definitely be the case, or it won't. I know that kind of is like, well, it's yes or no, but he's really quite adamant that the markers he's got on it seem to be pointing into that will be the case. So, and that's just a few days before the competition in November, the midterm competition. So there's all of that. And it seems to be, from what he says, he thinks it will go on for a few weeks. But then, I mean, he spoke to Roseanne Barr about doing her comedy shows in January. He says you'll be free and clear by then to be able to talk freely. So it seems like maybe it's a period during fall and winter, and then after that we get past it. I don't know. Can we have a look at the cards on that, and whatever this thing is, if it takes place, what's the kind of duration of it?
I wonder if that's why they're saying it's going to be a really cold winter.
Exactly. That's what I'm thinking.
If that's what they mean by that.
That's what because General Flynn told me the same thing. He said that. I saw him at the airport, and he just said that to me. So I've heard it from a few places.
Yeah, it'll be hard.
Uh-huh.
It looks like it shuts things down for about 2 weeks.
Yes.
So it does look like that's their desire. So they look like they really want that. This is what he's picking up on, those markers and everything. I think, like he says, it'll either absolutely happen or something will push them off their mark, but they want this. This is something they want for sure. Oh, everything's going in threes. I'd say 3 months anyway.
Okay.
So say it started at the end of October, so November, December, January. Yeah.
Okay.
So till the end of January.
Okay. So a 3-month period. Okay. Could it be a 3-week period, or it looks more like 3 months?
Well, the pentacles usually are months.
Okay.
Yeah, that's it. It says it's a little bit up in the air on how long with that.
Okay.
And it would probably depend on how everybody's doing.
Yeah.
Right? Like how
Yeah.
like, can you imagine, like, there's going to be a lot of anxious, I'm sure they'll be checking in on how the population is handling it.
Yeah. Okay. Can we look at Devil's Tower in Wyoming? So this is a famous fossilized tree stump from what it looks like, and it's the key feature in the film Close Encounters of the Third Kind. And it's a film that I've always loved watching, and I've always wanted to come and see and feel the area. And I came to it a couple of days ago and managed to walk around it. I mean, it was kind of at dusk when we got to go around it, and then it was dark. There are actually people on the backside of it. When you get mountain climbers and they climb up and camp at the night, you could see them with their torches and calling out, saying hello and laughing. And but it seems pretty powerful. I mean, it's got a unique name, Devil's Tower, but I've got some really good numbers on it because I noticed, both, dark and light come together. But I felt like it was pretty cool there, pretty energetically magical. But I don't know if there's had a bad past. I don't know.
It's looking really good to me.
Good.
Energetically, it looks really good. Actually, it's interesting. They give it a bad name, but it's actually really good.
Yeah.
It's like, and I even get with that Fool, it has an element of timelessness to it.
Yeah.
So you could lose track of time. Say you were one of those campers, you could lose track of time. You could feel less attached to the matrix there. Feels like it's not so attached to sort of the matrix or something. It's beyond it or above it or something. Yeah.
Yeah, it felt really lovely there. I'd like to have spent more time, and maybe I will. Maybe I'll go back there. But some numbers on it. So Devil's Tower, and obviously you got the Tower card, in the tarot.
Yep.
The Devil's Tower comes to 152. Interesting enough, that comes to my date of birth, which is 15th of February, so 152. But if you do the Devil's Tower, it doesn't get called the Devil's Tower that much. It's Devil's Tower, but some people might say, I'll go to the Devil's Tower. But the Devil's Tower comes to 185, comes to Donald John Trump, comes to Book of Revelation, comes to Global Financial Reset, comes to the Silver Reset, comes to the Matrix Reset. You talked about there, you might be a bit detached from the Matrix. So the Devil's Tower comes to the Matrix Reset, which is interesting. And it's in Wyoming, and Wyoming comes to 106, which comes to the word red pilling. And if you do them together, if you do Wyoming, if you do Devil's Tower, Wyoming, it comes to 258, which comes to President Donald J. Trump as well. So I saw that and I was like, okay.
Oh.
Yeah. And I was with Derek Johnson. We'll have to get him on Derek's really cool. I don't know if you've seen him, but he's the military guy that does all the codes.
Totally.
And he's awesome. And so what his favorite military order from President Trump is 138-48. And so we were talking, and Mark said, do the numbers on Derek. I'm like, okay. And I'd already mentioned 138 for Donald Trump revaluation, I think, because we saw maybe a car, like a sign on the road that was 138, something like that came up in conversation. Anyway, so Derek's numbers are 138. Donald Trump is 138. Revaluation is 138. And 48 is Tom. So it was like, it all just kind of synchronized together when we were talking about it.
Yeah.
But he's really a really good guy and got brilliant information. Cool. So another thing as well, I'm going to go to Mount Rushmore today. And Mount Rushmore is interesting in terms of numbers. So Mount Rushmore comes to 200, which comes to Westminster Abbey. And we've seen that a lot with the Queen recently. It also comes to like a thief in the night, i.e. things happening really quickly from biblical and maybe other esoteric standpoints in terms of phraseology. But Rushmore comes to 117. That comes to Jackie Kennedy, and it also comes to Fifth Avenue, and that's where Trump Tower is. At the top of Fifth Avenue is Trump Tower, 169, the Great Awakening, Trump Tower. So I'm just wondering what I feel like it might be a portal because of all the president's heads there, and President Trump has spoken there, and he spoke very clearly in 2020 about, he did code words on Jisara and Nasara and revaluation. He talked about promissory notes when he talked about Martin Luther King, and I thought, he's coding on the revaluation. What do you see with we've looked at Devil's Tower? What do you see with Mount Rushmore? I haven't been there yet, but I'm excited to go there today and see it and feel what the place is like.
There's been fights over it. It was in the hands of the dark hats, let's just say.
Yeah,
but it's been fought over. That's something that's been fought over, and it's won by the good guys.
Okay.
Surrender. So energetically, wow. Gateway. Again, it's a place of gateways. Very same two gateway cards surrounding. Okay, so it was used for negatives, but it's now could be used for positive. So it's a gateway off and energetically or other dimensionally. I don't know if there's I'm not sure how things work. So I'm scared to say things like off planet because I don't know exactly the shape of the earth. And I'm not a flat earther. I'm not saying that, but I don't think it's either flat or round. So that's my personal opinion. It's that shape that people talk about. That's like this living shape. It's in motion too, is what I get. But anyway, so it feels like you could move other dimensionally through that place. But in the past, it was used for bad.
Okay. Hence why they got, okay, that makes a lot of sense. Talking of the dimension, so going back to Devil's Tower, and they're only literally a couple of hours apart from each other. So it's, it's quite unique to have two of those kind of big national monuments in the US so close together. So I was having lunch at the base of Devil's Tower, and the waitress, Dawn, really lovely lady, and she was I said, has there been any activity here, any UFO stuff? And she pulled out a video that she took on her phone a few years ago, and you see she just filmed it you see like a kind of stream of something coming down to the top of the mountain of the tower, and it looks like it could be a portal, or maybe it was an alien or something else kind of coming down in a quite graceful and nice way and doing whatever it was doing. And she sent me the video. I'll have to get her permission, see if I can put it up on a Telegram. But then we were talking about numbers, and she said, do you see anything with the date and the time of this occurring? So she showed me it, and I looked at the timestamp of when she filmed it, and it happened at 8:33 in the evening. And I immediately looked at that, and I was like, well, yeah, so 8 plus 33 comes to 41, which comes to the word alien. And I was like, okay. And she loved that. I'm just wondering if we could look at the video. Was that, yeah,
it was. I'm thinking from Venus.
Oh, wow.
I'm getting a Venus feel somehow.
You're correct, because the word Venus is 81 and the word tower is 81.
Wow.
Yeah.
I just got a Venus energy. I got really tall and pale blue, light blue energy. I could almost see them.
You were bang on, Jenny, because I said to Derek, so that night when I was there at the tower, just 2 days ago, was a slither crescent moon. And I remember last year or the year before, I did a video on it, but in Regent's Park in London, I saw the crescent moon and I saw Venus all in the same shot. I'm not sure if Venus was around the other night, but I remember the numbers on that. So crescent moon plus Venus, I think is it the crescent moon plus Venus comes to 258, comes to Devil's Tower, Wyoming. And so I was missing the Venus because I wasn't sure if the Venus was there, but you've just brought it together. So wow, that confirms it all. Yeah.
Okay, you called me Jenny.
Did I?
Yeah. So what's the numbers on Jenny at? That's interesting. Yep.
I didn't even know. So my calc is died. I have to do it on my head. So J, E, that would be 15. That would be 29. That will be 39. That will be 44. There'll be 49. That'll be 69. 69 is checkmate. 69 is people, financial. Jenny. And then Janine is 53. So that would be 72. Add 50. That'd be 122. Yeah, that's millennium. That's America first. Wow.
Wow.
Wow. I didn't even know that at all. I'll have to rewatch it back. Hey, Jenny.
It just came out your mouth. Yeah.
Wow. Thanks for catching that. Yeah.
Yeah.
So, that was Jenny, if I've done it right in my head, is 69. Yeah. Which is checkmate, which is financial, which is people. So it might be a confirmation that we're close to checkmate. We're close, hopefully.
Yeah.
Hopefully.
Yeah.
What are some of the things you've been seeing, other things you've been reading on, you think would be good to share with the viewers over here? Maybe we can do some update readings on the stuff you've been looking at over the last week or so.
I was looking at the pipeline, and it looked
yes.
also like a bit of a booby-trapped situation where they set things in motion quite a while ago, and they really wanted to do what they did to it, rupture it or whatever, at a time when it had gas flowing through it. It didn't. Like, it's not in use right this minute, apparently. Okay. But the way they're talking about it in the news, it's really interesting because they're trying to make it look like it's going to be devastating for the environment. And I never get that around it. I get that they broke, let's say broke, because we can't say the other words.
Yeah.
So they did things to it, so it ruptured it or whatever.
Yeah.
But I don't get that it was like, I get it could be repaired, first of all. And I also get it wasn't be in use right now. Now, that does mean down the road when they need it, which is really soon in the winter months, it's not going to be able, they're going to have to find a different way around it. But what they're trying to say is that, all of this methane gas coming off of it. Whenever I look on that looks like a big lie. Okay. So I wonder, let's have a look at what the cards want to say on this show about that. Because just today I was reading, oh my goodness, they were making this big deal. And it feels like it's just playing into that what they're doing with the weather and trying to tell us things are a certain way just to get us to pay extra taxes and blame everything on us. Right. You know what I'm talking about? Because I can't really say the words. You can really get in trouble with those words. Isn't that interesting that that's the kind of words you can't talk about? I find that really interesting. Yes. Okay, let's see if that report that methane gas is spewing out of there, is true. So this did happen to it. So that part's true. Yeah. This is in the past, so it looks like it wasn't in use. Okay. Got the Queen of Wands. So the thing's broken and it'll take a lot to fix. Okay. It's not really telling me about the gas story, though. Okay, I'm thinking no. I'm thinking that's an overstep or overreach by the government that's still deep state. Okay. So in other words, they're playing it to their agenda, that climate agenda they have. Okay. So they're, because this card overreaches when it's aspected with this guy because he's really controlling. And this has been my deep state card. So I would say that's badly aspected now when you look at those. Yeah. Too much power and control with those two cards together. Okay. And as with a lot of it, not as bad as people, it's being shown. They can clear it up and it can be. It does look pretty damaged, actually. I feel like they'll probably have to redo there because this is pretty damaged. I think
Okay.
it did get damaged. So they're going to have to figure something out. And I don't know what's going to happen there, but it's not spewing. I think that part's like maybe there was some left in the, energetically.
Yeah.
Obviously, if it was used for it over a lot of years, it's going to have some coming out of there. But this is take that way down from what they're saying. They're trying to make it like a huge natural disaster with all this methane. And that's just not the case from what I'm getting.
Okay. And so President Trump is speaking in Detroit tomorrow.
Mhm.
I guess there's two parts to this question. One was telling me about it last night, and he was saying, "Oh, go along to it if you can." And he feels it will be probably his last one before whatever these events are going to take place. He's also, we've said it kind of on and off over the last year and a half or so, but he feels strongly that President Trump will get arrested, and that's all part of the playbook. Do we see? Well, let's have a look. Do we see President Trump getting arrested? Does that look stronger on the cards than maybe it has done before, or is it the same?
That's the strategy.
Okay.
Yeah, it's the strategy, and it's to do with waking people up. Also, it leaves room. I feel like he'll actually be kept in comfort, so he won't really be rounded up. They're going to take him somewhere safe.
Yeah.
He won't really be rounded up, and he might even have his family around him. So that's interesting, but that's the strategy.
Yeah.
And it still looks like it could get taken off the table, but there's sort of two ways they could do it. They could do that, or there's one other thing. And I feel like that's still being juggled around.
Do you get any feel on what the other thing could perhaps be? Is there any indication on that?
Interesting. I think they're waiting to see how something around the money, the financial market goes.
Okay.
I feel like if things went way better, like there's things going on with the crashing of the markets.
Yeah.
That I feel like if they went in a certain direction, they might not have to do that. I guess is what it kind of looks like. So it depends on a couple of different things they're doing, right?
Okay.
They got so many irons in the fire, I've noticed. Right? They got the WAR sort of stuff going on.
Yeah.
In the East and also in Eastern Europe. They've got those kind of potentials building up, and then they've got the market crash, I believe, is a given. Like it's already happened actually, and it's just playing itself out in real time now. So I think they're going to be gauging how that goes and see if they have. I always got the feeling that they may avoid arresting them if they can. Like there could be other ways they could pull off what they're trying to pull off.
Okay. Yeah. And this rally that he's doing tomorrow, does that look like the last one that he'll do before things really start to get choppy and kick off?
Again, that looks like it depends on the money situation or the financial situation. So depending on how that goes, interesting. Now, all of these cards look really positive around the financial system. So we could be talking about reevaluation of things. Currencies and things, because this looks like that's also something playing itself out in the background that I feel might have already happened and needs to be exposed. And see that could be our gold-backed system.
Yeah.
ready to come on board. And all of it seems to be, things things could get held up because of the money system or the financial system, depending on how it goes, or they could get speeded up. So I feel like there's a lot of things riding on the financial crash. It's the next big marker, just like the Queen getting officially said to be off the Earth plane. I think this is the next big, like.
Okay. Something that I wanted Rachel to speak about, but I think it's pertinent to look at it now. So she was at a rally, President Trump's rally in Pennsylvania a couple of weeks ago, maybe 3 or 4 weeks ago, whenever it was. And there was a guy, so they were sat behind President Trump. You couldn't see her completely when it was zoomed in on President Trump, but when they zoomed out, you could see her very clearly. She's wearing the George t-shirt, etc. But she was sat with a gentleman who was wearing a green cap. And I put on Telegram, she's there next to the guy with the green cap. But she sent me something just last week. And there's a couple of videos of him there's one in particular of him being interviewed by Right Side Broadcast, the network, the news channel that features all the rallies. And so he's wearing glasses and he wears the cap. And then what he does is he kind of almost looks like a costume change, the way he kind of maneuvers himself. He takes the glasses off, puts them in, and there's this quite different looking guy from the one under the glasses. And he tells us, and they say, "Oh, who are you? You've been here before." And he sounds like someone very familiar to people in the movement. And he says his name is Edward X Young. And he said X is for Xavier. And that made me think of Professor X, Charles Xavier in the X-Men, and where all the kind of gifted anons go to learn, etc., and all that stuff. But Edward is 55, which is JFK Jr. And when you listen to this guy, he sounds very similar to Junior. Now, I'm just wondering, well, I'll just ask the direct question, was that Junior? Do the cards want to tell us if it was Junior?
I'm getting a yes. Oh my goodness. Yeah. And wise old soul, and an older version of Junior, obviously.
Yeah.
Yeah, because he's, how old would he be now?
Oh, I think he was born in, what is it? I think he's 60 or 61 now. He was 59, I think, at the beginning of this. I think
So he was born in 61 like me?
Oh, what year was he born? He might have been. So, trying to think. Yeah, no. So his dad died in 63, and I believe he was 3 years old then, or he was just about to turn 3.
So he was either born in 60 or 61. It sounds like, oh man, I guess we better do our research.
Yeah, I do know it, but I don't have it at the top of my head.
Anyway, he's around 60. Okay. So, I mean, that's not that old because I'm 61, so it can't be that old. But right.
Both you and JR are still good looking.
Right. Awesome. Thank you. Okay, I'll take that. So see that we got the Hermit. So he's very wise, of course.
Yeah.
And could even be like I'm thinking hybrid.
Okay.
Like I believe Trump is. So I don't think they're fully human. I mean, I'm just saying.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And then this ace said yes. So I think I think you nailed it. But on that note, I'm going to have to get going, Tom. I got a hard exit because I got another show to do.
That's perfect, Janine. That's a great way to close it. So, all righty. As always, God bless you. And where can people find you?
You have to do the long form of this. We're going to say the short form, but TBJ, because it's obviously not TBJ.com, but you got to, the long version of that.com.
Got it.
And I'm also on Telegram, and it looks like Jean-Claude and I, so I'm on Beyond Mystic, and we do some pay-per-view shows together, but it looks like he's going to start up a Rumble and get me on there live once a week. And that'll be for everybody to view. It won't be on.
No, people like that. Yeah.
So I know everybody wants that. So we're going to do a once a week live, I think starting next Friday, but it'll come out for sure. And we'll announce it for sure. But that's what the plan is for now anyway.
Awesome. Thanks, Janine. God bless. See you soon.
Good. Take care.
Take care. Thanks, Janine. Bye.
Bye.